Chuck. My real name Ray. And I remember you, but I don't remember.
Yes, sir.
I can put it in work.
Anyway, what is it? You needed the show, or you just need to sit down?
I'm sure that.
Okay.
Maybe not.
So,
I think it was school. I don't think
it's
it
the
was
holidays, so not that many people. But you see the cups, if you can stay in between. Thank you, first off. I understand if you couldn't.
Yeah, man.
I know what's
I
happening.
wanted to come,
I went
man.
to city and then I went
I printed out the questions.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
But I remember, I can't remember where.
So, I gave you lead number the other day. So you got it.
Yeah,
They give it to you.
No, that's the same number. That's the same number, Lee.
You call me right
Cause
now.
I text you, I text you one time before, you was like, who this? And I'm like, I'm long from the Western,
When you been in the
way back.
Yeah, way back.
You've been in there for over 10 years. That's when you know.
Yeah, cause I was about 2 years this last go around.
Yeah, I did 13. So
That's what I was saying.
yeah, man, it had to be more.
Cause I came from.
Y'all ready? Because he stopped in the middle of a job to come, and these are questions that I would like to know that I don't know, and it's more to owning a truck than doing a pre-trip than getting a PM. I learned this from working with Peterbilt, that there's maintenance intervals that your truck has. Like you need to come in to get your valves adjusted. A lot of people don't change the fluid on their DEF or the transmission. The automatic transmissions have a filter that needs to be changed. A lot of people don't change their air dryer until their whole system burn up. So I put these questions out so he can explain to us what's going on, bro. The next level of taking care of our equipment, so we go to the shop instead of winding up in the shop or on the roll call, which you had a complete disadvantage. And if you're out of state dealing with somebody that you don't know, they're going to take advantage of you.
And
So
when you can't limp to a spot, I can't stand when you can't. I had most of the times when we get a flat, it's normally our tandems, somewhere on our tandems. I just now had a flat on my front tire and I couldn't limp. That $800 just got on. I just felt some type of way about that $800.
you lucky that was it, because the last front tire I did was $900 just for the tire, and out in Washington State, and that's not even putting it on and all. So, do you want to say anything to them
He go
first
everywhere.
before we go into these questions?
Well, first of all, sorry for running a little late. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Remember what I told you, we on colored time.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah, the trucks, once you making some money or it's making some money, you gotta put something to the side for the truck. It's gonna take it. If you neglect it, it's gonna take all your stash from you, because you're gonna be on the road. And whilst you're on the road, sometimes, I'll give you an example. One time I was leaving Essex, it's 4 in the morning, to come to the garage. It was this yellow classic sitting on the side of the road, going 95 north. I didn't leave till 7 p.m. going back home. It was still there. So I bust a U, and I came back. I was like, what's going on? He said, man, Maryland, the mechanics, they show up, they just take the bread, they go, they don't fix the truck. So he's been there. 4 o'clock, I was coming to work, he was there. I was leaving, he was still there. I don't know how long that man was sitting up there. I said, what is wrong? The truck cut off. He said, somebody came in, they put alternator on, batteries on, it still won't start. So I started checking. So I went to go plug the computer up, it won't read. So I went to the battery, it was a little wire that feeds the ECM, the 12.7. It was broken, but it was still like connected to the terminal. So I just splice it, put it back together. Vroom, truck started. You can't even charge him. That scenario, you can't. He didn't call me. I was going home. I just happened to see him.
You get anything you want, just because
Right,
you
but-
pay them for your kindness.
Right, but you have situations like that. You have to see. He's been there all day. So he said, "Man, how much?" I said, "Man, you good? No. You did this. I gotta give you something."
Something, facts.
You know, so it so happened he got a big fleet, and one of the drivers called out. So now anytime they going up north, they stop. So I got a clientele like right there, you know, out of, you know, stopping, just help the man out. You know what I mean? So the trucks, man, I don't want to go deep, you know, because I don't know how much time we got, but
You got as much. I didn't want to infringe on your time.
right,
You have as much time as you want, but I understand you have other things to do.
right.
But see what he just did, and see how it came back.
Yeah.
You know, that's how life is, and a lot of y'all don't know. When I used to deliver the books, people used to ask, well, "Why are you doing this? It's Cherry Hill. It's 4:00 in the morning, or you down the road 5 in the morning, dropping off books to people's door," and it comes back to you in different ways. So Lee is one of my mentors. You probably don't know, but silently, I go to this man and sit and talk with him. And actually, he's actually the most important person in my career, because when I was in trucking school, when I first graduated, I used to go to the truck yards and walk around and just talk to random people. And he had a shop in the back with Tommy and Panda Express and all those guys. And so he helped me get my first job in trucking. And also, when I started diesel mechanics, I would sit and talk, and not just about trucks, but about life. And he's a very involved soul and he's a brilliant person. When you start to talk and have conversations with him, that's why you can never read a book by its cover. Not saying that I did that, but I'm
Right.
just speaking in general.
Right.
Never look at appearances. People see me when I'm covered in grease and having shaving days, and may think I'm a bum. I'm not. Or people may look at my voluntary living conditions, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and think that that's, you know, people will judge you based off of what you look like or what you have. So, but it never, you never give anything away. Everything you put out come back to you, good or bad. So if you have a chance to help somebody, and that's what this is about. It's not the Sean show.
Right.
All of y'all know stuff that I don't know. And everybody, we are stronger together, working together and exchanging information and context than we are apart. And part of our culture has been dismantled over the decades. And it's going to take us to bring it back, because the days of pointing the finger and saying they did this and they did that. Okay, so then what are we going to do to change it? Or are we just going to accept it and put the blame on somebody? And that's not how I want to roll.
Yeah. So you want us to stick with the questions, or because I summarized it.
Go ahead, whatever you want to do. But some of these things, the lifespan of certain parts,
Right.
I think is important, because you had a PM, but there's something also called predictive maintenance. And when you get a chance, I'd like y'all to go and get this book and read it. If nothing else, buy the manual to your truck. And it'll tell you all the maintenance schedules that you need to stop in the shop for, so you can catch it before it happens, instead of breaking down and being at a bad spot.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna digress, and it's all up to you.
Okay. So I would say, if we talking about preventive maintenance, what are we talking about? We are talking about how to make the truck run longer without having premature component failures and stuff. Okay, let's take for instance, what is the culprit in the air system that causes all the air system to go bad.
Moisture.
The moisture. What component takes the moisture out? That's the air dryer.
Right.
Okay, let's say the compressor is pumping the air. The air is getting hot. It comes to the dryer. Sometimes some of the trucks has a cooler. When the air comes to the dryer, it goes in front of the radiator so that it can be cool whilst the truck is driving. So when the air is cool, you get more volume going to the tanks. So if the dryer is not doing its job, it's a desiccant in the dryer which is supposed to absorb the moisture. If it's not doing it, now when the air goes through your tank, when it cools down, it forms a condensate. Yeah, I got some water things. It forms a condensate. So some of the tanks has a valve inside of it. So when the moisture builds up, it fills the tank up and it submerged, like the valve is submerged into the in the condensate. Okay, the period of time you're gonna see that your air is not building up. You're gonna change all the component is still not building up. The tank is $400. So the troubleshooting, if you go to these big companies, they charge like, how much Peter be charged?
$195.
$195. They give you minimum 3 hours. So you're talking about, let's say 600 right there, the tank is 400. Versus you changing the dryer periodically. I got one of my guys, he changed it 3 times a year.
The filter, the dryer.
Just the dryer itself, the dryer filter.
Right. So
Yeah,
it has the filter.
Don't change the dryer, the complete dryer. Don't change it.
Right.
Change the filter itself. There's a cartridge. The dryer, the filter, the whole assembly is expensive. Just changing. Sometimes it's $80. In some places it's like, yeah.
Sometimes it's even.
You know the canister that has the air dryer in it.
Right.
So you tell me if I take the bolts off and pop that off, is a filter in
The
there?
canister in there. That's
Yeah, you can
called
do
it.
it yourself.
Yeah.
About a whole new dryer, but it's a filter you can change.
Yes.
Because I see the filters for sale, but I was looking, I seen the bolts on that, something like that, about a whole component or not, but I was wondering if I had to open it up. There was a
Yes.
filter in there, so.
It's a filter. The one you're talking about, when you change the cartridge inside, it's gonna be an O-ring. Change the O-ring and then sometimes change the purge valve also. Sometimes the purge valve, they get stuck.
Yeah, and that's what
And
that
then-
like,
yes.
I stick my finger in it, like,
It was-
it'll blow air out, but then it'll shut
Right.
all the way, so.
Yeah.
that's
So
what-
like that. So you bought a part for, let's say $120, and the mechanic put it on for you for $80, $200, and you can do that, let's say 4 times a year. Which one would you rather do? Don't do it and pay, almost $1,000, and then your downtime, not counting your downtime. So the preventive maintenance is very, very, very important. I was changing the clutch Thursday. The guy just put a clutch in March,
Never
and
greased it.
yeah, the what you call the Cascadians, they got forks at the bottom, so they didn't put a grease fitting on there. So you can't reach to grease it. There's grease fitting on the release bearing. You can't reach in to grease it. You need to come through the side of the bear housing, or you gotta put one on so it come through the inspection cover hole. It's not there.
Can I cut in?
Yeah.
A truck stop is not gonna do this. I don't care if y'all going to grease your truck and paying for a PM. They're not doing it. They're gonna grease your fifth wheel and the stuff you can see. What's up, man?
What's up, Sean? How you doing?
So you have to have a trusted mechanic,
Yeah. You gotta be
not
one
a
that-
mechanic. You got it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. It's,
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Which one would you rather do? You gotta go and get I say there's a formula to maintaining your trucks. There's a formula. You can't trust everybody, but you have to enforce or go out and under there and make sure, did you grease my clutch for me? You have to insist. Some of the, it's a guy, one of the customers that I dealt with, he checked everything. If you don't see grease coming out of a greasing nipple, when your guy is greasing the trucks, they're not greasing my trucks right. I said, which truck is that? Then maybe I asked my guy, he said, oh, this fitting is not good. So when I look at the nose they write down, it's on there, but I didn't get a chance to talk to the customer yet. So I said, yeah, we gotta take care of this, we gotta take care of it, we gotta take care of it. He checks everything. And that is what I tell most of the truck is yours. If you take it there and leave it, oh, he ain't gonna check it. He's gonna put a grease on the fifth wheel and they're gonna buy the business. I'm not saying all mechanics will do that, but since it's your truck, you have to, sometimes spend some time with a mechanic. You get to know your truck more. I got a guy, he got like that clutch thing I was telling you about. We fixed the problem. We couldn't get the fitting from international, so we had to go to Freightliner and get it. When you look at your belt housing, it's gonna be like a rubber grommet on the side. That's what it's for. You gotta take it out and let the mechanic put one in for you. Sometimes the transmission needs to be dropped, but the dude spent $5,000 just to get everything going. The rear main seal, the flywheel housing, the clutch, and then all the stuff we did to it, just because somebody didn't put a grease fitting on there. So that is one of the main, the preventive maintenance. Greasing is like $30. I don't know how the other companies charge to grease a truck. $30 to grease a truck. If you don't grease it, you asking to pay more money in the longevity. As soon as you crank the truck up, the clutch is turning. The release bearing, they get hot. The grease, even though they're gonna be maybe lithium grease, they have the durability to last longer, but eventually it's gonna come out. When it's dry, the bearing is gonna fail prematurely. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, you making sense.
Yeah, so those are the little things you need to be doing, the greasing.
So how you know when it fails? Like if you're driving the truck, how you can tell?
Sometimes he rattle, but this guy, he can't go in gear when he's about to take off. He flow the gears when he's drive, but he can't back in the dock. The truck can't stop. It's in gear. When you push the clutch in, it's still moving because the release bearing is way out. It's not allowing the clutch brake to stop the input shaft to disconnect the power from the engine to the transmission. You didn't have a board here. I was gonna draw.
So when
That would cause the gears to grind when you try and put it in gear because it won't stop.
Because maybe if you got a manually adjusted clutch, it might be out of adjustment. But maybe the hydraulic clutch, it might be maybe spongy, maybe there's air in the system.
So if you catch it in time, that's happening. How much would a repair like something like that cost? Is it something major to get it back normal?
It depends. It depends. The guy I was talking about, he saw it a while back and he ignored it. So when the clutch came apart, the intermediate plate, that's why I was like, I wish there's a board here. It's an intermediate plate. It has like a spider, fingers, like 4 fingers. They came apart and going in the flywheel housing, they cracked the flywheel housing also. Sometimes it's good to get right on it. If the money is there, it's good to get right on it, but don't stretch it too far. You know what I mean? Don't stretch. If you stretch it too far, it's gonna cost you more than you are expected to, do the repairs the first time.
So when you get a grease job, done, are they greasing everything?
Yeah, you are supposed
Everything.
kingpins, the pitman, the steering gearbox, the tie rod ends, all the universal joints, the slack adjusters, S-cam, everything. The fifth wheel also. Sometimes the fifth wheel has the grease fitting at the end of the. When you gotta flip it. You might be grease fitting here or on the side. So 2 grease fitting. Sometimes you don't have one. Every so often, you can pay. They pick it up and grease it so that it won't get stuck. You can have that when you going. You hit the trailer, it come up. Sometimes when it gets stuck, you're gonna hit the trailer. You know what I mean? So those are the little things.
You mentioned floating. Y'all right by the microphone too. You mentioned floating the gears. Is that a good or a bad thing?
It's good. It's good for prolonging the lifespan of the clutch. Or anytime you hit the clutch and you disengage, for it to, when I say disengage your foot from the pedal. There's a friction at the impact, so that wears the intermediate plates. So like you double clutch, anytime you double clutching, let's say I'm floating the gears, I can have 2 years. If I'm driving good, I can have 2 years out of my clutch. You might have maybe a year if you
using it.
Yeah, if you clutching all the time.
But what about when you go in the gear and then you hit it grinding? You're not going straight into the gear, then you gotta find the gear.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta rev it up. That's how I do it.
So
if I'm let's say if I'm going in gear and I can't find it, I'm gonna up the RPM or depending on what gear I'm trying to look for, or I come down another gear.
So that noise you hear grinding, that's not chipping the teeth?
It's gonna chip the teeth when if you hear it, let off of the stick, the stick shift, let off of it. And then maybe you come a little bit and let it, but if you forcing it, the synchronizers, you wear them down. So eventually, you're not gonna have your synchronizer. So another thing, you're gonna see your shifter every once in a while. Your shifter you can't find the gears. It's not that the transmission is bad. Your isolator is bad. The isolator is bad. It's like a small. It's made of galvanized with these rubber bushings in there. So the stake need to go in tight. If the bushings are worn out, you're gonna see your gears are there, but let's say you can get the first gear over here, the stake be all the way over there. After you get it, it's dangling all over the place. So the isolator is bad. You need to change it. That causes you to come out of gear sometimes. The stake come out. Once you in 10 speed, all of a sudden, you don't have nothing. When you look at the stake, it's out. So you got to put it back in. You know.
Something like that. Is that a major repair?
I don't consider it a major repair, but it's dangerous. Sometimes you're going down the hill, you can't find the gears.
No, I'm saying like to get that fixed, to get the isolator.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
It will cost you less to fix that before
right.
You have to change your whole entire clutch.
So how
right.
much would you say?
I would say the part is like $32.
Okay.
But you take the stake out and then there's no hole in it. You have to make the hole. So that's the only thing that it makes the job takes a little bit longer. Maybe 2 hours. You can do that.
What you say that problem come from, Lee?
The bushings in the isolator is worn out.
That's not the clutch brake. That's
No, you just your stick, the bottom of the shift tower is separate from the stick itself, so you can separate it.
okay.
So where the separation is, the isolator go in between the stick and the tower.
All right.
Yeah, so when you going in gear all the time, you wearing it out.
Okay.
So as time goes on, it's gonna be worn out more, and then the shifter is all over the place.
Cause I got a high stick in the truck, and I find myself sometimes, cause like sometimes it come out.
Come with the
Sometimes
gear.
depending on where I'm at and how I'm moving.
Right.
Especially if I gotta go up a hill,
Yeah.
I gotta hold the stick.
Yes.
Just so it don't come out.
Yeah, yours is the weight. So you can count at it from coming out of gear with the weight on the. If you look on the I don't know if your truck got it, but if you got a long nose classic, the transmission, when you go under there, you're gonna see the transmission is all the way over here. And then you sitting here, it's like a counterweight attached to the stick. It allows the stick to stay in gear.
Yeah. So it's not the truck. It's a different truck. It's a Pete now that I have.
Right.
So I don't, I think the transmission sit directly
Under you.
Right. Under the stick.
Right.
But it's not all the time.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I gotta come off the clutch, play with the clutch a little bit to get the stick out of the gear.
Right.
But it has popped out a few times. I'm driving and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I
push it
stick,
back in.
Sometimes I gotta hold it.
Yeah.
So should I consider getting that?
You can get the weight put on it, but if you don't come with it, also now you have to use some more effort to get it out of gear.
Yeah.
The classic is easy. Once because of the way the transmission is right there.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a weight attached to it.
So, since you on these two subjects, what is the lifespan of a clutch and the repair costs for parts and labors? And there's a second part to that question as well.
Yeah, the clutches, they vary in prices. You know, you have the 1600 foot-pound clutch, you have the 1860 foot-pound clutch, and you have the 2050 foot-pound clutch. The difference is you're gonna have the bigger one. Is like, let's say I weigh 200 pounds, and I'm trying to pull a weight that is like the same weight as me. I'm gonna use a little bit effort to pull it. So let's say somebody who is like 250 can move it comfortably more than me. You know what I mean? So sometimes when I'm changing a clutch, I go heavy duty, depending on what application the customer is using the truck for. You know, if you pull heavy, I like to. Sometimes they say don't put the heavy duty clutch in 1650 or 1600 foot-pound clutch truck. But sometimes in my truck I do it just because if I'm pulling heavy loads, the clutch can withstand it. But it's expensive. The 2050 foot-pound torque clutch is like the one we bought for the guy was $12.50. But it was a little bit cheaper at International. You can get it a little bit cheaper. But they range between, all the clutches between $8.50 to $12.50.
And the labor costs on it?
The labor, the small shops, you can get somebody to do it for $1,000. You know.
And the lifespan, how long should it last?
The lifespan, it depends on the maintenance that you're doing and how you drive the truck. You can get a driver who is a rookie, he's gonna burn the clutch out. And it depends. That one is, I can't really say. We have a truck that has the same clutch in it for over 380,000 miles. The same clutch. I put a clutch in Tommy truck it was in there for 13 years. You know, so
veteran driver.
Yeah, so it varies.
Yeah.
Like I told you, the guy had a clutch in the truck since March, and I just put one in there Thursday. You know what I mean? So that I can't really say, but I would say maybe 200,000, 300,000. But if it's not doing nothing,
So 2 years basically.
Hey Lee, right quick, right? I don't know if it's important or not. Speaking about the clutch, because I got my cousin, right? And he was driving trucks for years. I got in the truck with him one day to ride with him, and he got a clutch. And the way he takes off is gas when he coming off his clutch. So and I said to him, like, when you burning your clutch up when you do that. Vroom, 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 coming off trying to back like he's in the car.
Yeah, it's
And in the truck, am I correct? Or quote or check me if I'm not. When you're in a truck, you don't have to balance offsets your gas and your clutch.
He might be starting off in a higher gear though. You know you don't have to start off in first.
No, you can start off in 3, 4, but I'm saying it's the same mechanism with him when he's taking off. Like I'm watching, and he gassing as he coming off his clutch, and I'm like, bro, you burning your clutch up when you do that. And he like, this ain't burning your clutch up. And I'm like, bro, you burning it up. You don't gotta come off. You don't gotta give your truck gas in the low 4, 5. You know, you don't gotta give it gas. You come off the clutch right. It'll take off regardless.
yeah, that's called half clutching. That's wearing the friction surfaces of the pad. Because you're taking it in and going like the engine is always turning. So since the engine is always